talking about how we actually use Google Hangouts and kind of conduct
he's turned it on.
interviews and so
Huh?
forth.
He's
Can
got
you
it.
talk a little bit about what you're doing in Google Hangouts exactly?
Like what I'm doing right now with Google Hangout?
Yes.
I'm talking to you. What do you mean you're doing with Google Hangout? I'm working really hard. All right. Actually, Josh, one of the things I've been doing, I can't make it go away.
No one's taking selfies or pictures or anything. You're fine. Go ahead.
I can't get it off.
I see a Levy poster in the future.
Yeah.
It's already online.
That's true.
Let's see. Oh, thanks. There we go. Okay, it's hard to take a guy with a fucking mask on seriously. I have used Google Hangout to conduct several interviews actually recently, so that's one of the ways it's been very useful. The other day we were at the ITIP conference, or whatever Google conference that Josh and I, Jeff Fisher and Barbara Coulter presented at, and I was able to step away and conduct an interview for a high school English position. It helps me to be able to meet with Josh or other administrators without actually having to have them leave their building. So we've used it in that way. Hi, Mr. Brown.
Hello.
Good meeting.
Hey.
So it's been very, very handy.
Well, that's one thing. If you miss your time, I didn't have a meeting, and you just kind of threw this in here real quick for me. I really appreciate it. I want to show the teachers today how to Google Hangout, YouTube channel, Snagit. There's a bunch of different resources we're going to use today. So thanks for being with us.
You're welcome. My pleasure. I'm glad you're doing it.
Bye.
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 A lot of fun. I'm going to try and make this a very interactive session today. I've got a lot of things planned. Barb and I just came back from the Google conference, which was a lot of fun. Got a lot of different ideas, some really neat things. I'm going to show you some really neat websites as well that I learned that I didn't know anything about today that the high school staff has not gotten a chance to see. But I know I've got some different teachers here, so I don't want to get go over their time frame. I definitely want to hear them talk a little bit. The one thing today we're definitely going to do is show you how to create a YouTube channel. So you can be able to create your own YouTube videos, be able to create videos yourself. We're going to do that here today. I'm also going to show you how to use Snagit. Snagit is an ability to capture the screens of the ability to capture the screen of an actual Chromebook. So anything you're doing on the screen, anything that you're saying at that same point in time, can be put into a Google document or a YouTube video. Now, YouTube videos can be public, they can be private, and they can only be seen by people that have the link for them. Okay, so you can make your own YouTube channels today, make it private, no one needs an opportunity to see those, only you. Okay, so you don't have to really worry about that. I make private channels all the time, and I delete things. I'll send out videos to staff members on how training is done all the time on YouTube, and it's a great resource. So easy to do too. You'll see how quick this is done, how easy this is. But I'm more about talking about technically it can be done, but I've asked Katie and Greg to be here today, some of my high school fantastic teachers, and Mr. Phillips is going to talk a little bit about how he uses YouTube in his classroom. So, Mr. Phillips.
What?
Give me a go.
Yeah.
Drive for you?
Yeah, you want to go ahead and just bring them back. That's fine. You want to go ahead to youtube.com. I'll kind of walk you through the steps, at least to put you right in position to be able to make a YouTube video. It is super simple. I'm just on the cusp of being like old enough that I'm just dangerous with computers. It's certainly not my native language. Almost 20 years teaching. I use them, but I'm certainly, when it comes to like what Katie's going to do, I mean, she's just like, the diva of technology, and I like things that are simple, and I can literally go in the next day and say, let's do this. And YouTube is a really easy way to be able to interact. Two things that I'm going to offer up as far as what has really been the best
name is
Oh,
your name.
you forgot the Gregory. Everybody does that. That's I literally get very little mail, which is great. So I use it primarily Google videos or create my own videos for two things. One, by the way, I would recommend, you might see a lot of Minecraft. My son gets on Chromebook, Minecraft, looks up Minecraft videos. When you log into YouTube, I've created a little picture up there. Whoa. How do we get this? Oh, is there any way I can?
Let me,
Okay, I'll let you do that. On days when you're not going to be in the classroom, a YouTube video is great. It's like the kids can't get away from you even when you're not there. And so you can make your face, it takes literally as many minutes to record it as you want to make it lengthy. And so there's something about you explicitly, you giving directions to them. It's kind of neat if you make even them for separate different classes. You could even, if you've got that one student that literally rolls their eyes, you know, every time, you can literally in the middle of your YouTube video, like, Jake, get working. And it freaks them out because they're like, is it live? Is it streaming? And so what I've done is I've actually inserted those, not really as a bell ringer, but actually what drives my instruction if I'm going to be out. There were a couple of PD days we were up at Olentangy, and so that's kind of when I first went ahead and just sunk that into my Google video. It is super easy to make. The second thing that I have found is great, at least in the language class, is my students' ability to make YouTube videos and share them with me very quickly, very easily. And so they can do a presentation, they can do a poster, they are literally talking in Spanish, pointing at the poster, recording themselves, they're done, they click done, they send it to me, it's that easy. The platform that I use, and I don't want to get ahead of myself or where Josh is at or your training, I use Google Classroom to kind of embed all of that, to keep that inside those parameters. Google Classroom is phenomenal. When you go to youtube.com, it may or may not log you in automatically. I'm logged in automatically. I find that some people are or aren't. If you hover where the finger is, I've created a little snapshot of my face. But if you hover over that, it should tell you whether you're logged in. You need to make sure that you are automatically logged into YouTube. It does create your YouTube account for you. You should have that. Am I correct?
Yeah, Google owns YouTube.
Yes.
So it syncs together.
Yeah, I got you.
Yes. Scaling issue. This one was in here right at the last second. Kids sound great. Those were kids.
If you see that upload, there should be, is everybody logged in? That cares to log in? Okay.
YouTube.com.
There, it's uncovered. It says no response to my hover.
Zero hover phone.
Click on it once, it may.
Hey, Matt,
Okay, if
can
you
you
hit
turn
the
the volume
upload button,
Down?
which is
down?
right there,
Volume down.
On what?
Whatever making the buzzing noise, just turn our volume down.
it will take you to this picture. You can do multiple things. It's not just creating live videos. You can actually do a photo slideshow. So if you're a big Prezi type or slides kind of person, you can actually make a YouTube video of slides and make it look kind of a live slideshow presentation. But what you'd want to click on would be the webcam capture, which is right here. It'll say record. Just click on that. And it won't start recording right away, but it kind of gives you this dark screen. And if you click start recording, and am I going too fast? If I jump too far, sometimes these crazy critters. Has it? Cool.
If you've never logged into YouTube before and asks you to set up a channel, just put in the basic information and hit OK. Continue. I think they ask your birthday if you've not logged into that before. And once you do hit the webcam and hit the record, you're going to get this little pop-up right here, this Adobe Flash pop-up. You have to say allow for allow Flash and use your webcam.
And if you click remember, it basically will never ask you again.
Yeah, it's a one-time thing.
If you just do allow, I think it pops up again. If you click allow and remember, it will only bother you one time. The disclaimer is it's a computer, and so who knows. But in theory, that's how it works. And at this point, it has actually been recording me for 35 seconds. You saw Mr. Saxton, if you were in here, kind of, it looked like he was on a selfie stick with that thing. He was waving it around. It records you, whatever you're going to say. And then you literally hit stop recording. At that point, you can push the play button and preview it. It may not be what you want to hear. If you're like me, I'm drastically cognizant that my voice sounds really weird when I hear it of my own recording. And I think if that's how I sound, I quit, I retire. They can buy out my last 20 years and I'm out of here. The kids tell me I don't sound okay, but I hate hearing my own voice. It just freaks me out. But you can preview it. Be licking my lips.
Yeah.
Matt.
And if you,
Okay. If you like what you've recorded, you simply just hit continue. And I'll kind of stop right there. I hear some people saying allow, remember, they kind of are in that. You might have to kind of fold the lid a little bit, trying to find your perfect mug when you're recording this.
It's obviously really dark in
Yes.
here, so it's a lot brighter. You know, it's not the auditorium.
Yeah, we're just a webcam capture. That's what my disclaimer. Sometimes it just doesn't. It may not do it until everybody tries to record. You're done recording it, start recording the problem. We could like move on across the street. That would be great. Drive over to Actually, I push both lines, which makes it feel like
We can rebuild it.
yes, ma'am.
It only costs $6 million. I think that we're, she's probably not going to rebuild it.
Settings.
Yes, ma'am. All right, for the sake of time, so we can get Katie, I don't know if Barb's going to be spitting bars today. She's just here assisting. Okay. Once you get to this page here, this is when you've decided, I like what I've recorded for my students. I've given them the daily plans. I've used this as a bell ringer. Right there where it says webcam video from May 19, 2015, 6:40, that's going to be the title of your video if you just hit publish. You probably want to change that and delete that and save it to something normal, whatever day, whatever the lesson might be, whatever class. So I might say that it's, Spanish 4, we go. I know it's update. It'll work. And then when I hit publish, notice that mine says public. I love it when people from like Peru find my video and cuss me out and say that I'm like a white guy. It's great. So I like to leave it public. It invites all sorts of crazy people. It actually is great for the AP kids because we can get like commentaries that you've all read the YouTube channel comments before. It's great for the AP kids to get some realia, some actual pretty street slang friendly. But you can set that to private once, like Josh said. You can set that to whatever you want. I have it in public. I have no shame of myself on YouTube. Maybe I should. You can go unlisted, private. You can be as like ninja as you want.
If you go private, can it be shared so that somebody else can do it?
No.
Yeah, so that's for you only.
Correct.
For you.
So then what's up?
Well, you can grab the link.
Unlisted would mean you can share that.
Unlisted means you can share the link.
Yes. If you go unlisted, you can then grab the link, share that in Google Classroom or via email. Kids would click on the link, it would take them to the video. If you literally go private, all you've done is created some creepy montage of yourself for yourself, or whoever can log into your YouTube channel. So that's where you're at in life. Maybe not. Save changes. I believe that's it.
That's it.
That's it.
It'll take a few seconds to actually build, and then you'll be able to go to your.
You can go up.
Do you have a way that you organize the different videos that you make? to help you?
If you go to, once you've saved it, if you go up into the little drop-down box, it'll say My Channel. If you click on that, that's where it puts all of your videos, usually in date order, for you to access. And you can see a list of my videos here. So that's where it does put them for you. So, and it keeps them in chronological order. You can alphabetize it and tell it what you want it to do. It'll store all your videos right there on your My Channel page.
And then did you say you could name those?
Yeah, like the one I have up is called Spanish for May 15th. Like, yeah, because if you don't, it'll default to that weird timestamp, and then you'll be confused, like Central Standard, whatever. So you can call them bell ringers. It's as easy for you and probably a lot easier for students to create any video project they want when they have access to a Chromebook. And so if you're into video projects or you like the idea of doing a video project, it is really that simple. It just happens. Like they just spit them out, you know.
So when your classes unit, you're good through the classroom, and it's all organized.
That's beyond my pay grade. I'm just,
So Google Classroom
Yeah.
allows you to put your link there, and that
yes.
you don't have to share the link through an email. If you literally put it in Google Classroom like you did last week, and assign it, and then you just click on it. Yep. Okay.
At what point in the process do you get trained? So when you go to save it,
Yeah, when you went to save it, when that second screen came up, we gave you like a timestamp. That was the name. You
then
could
that's,
get,
The box right below that's where you
yep. And you can put it up right as a timestamp and change it later too.
Go back and hit like Google Classroom, circle up. The one up on top, that one. It is not intuitive at all in that.
Yeah, I know.
I said something.
It sucks me into the. For instance, if I go to my Spanish 3 third period, anything, I'm trying to find like the most recent YouTube video, but you can embed YouTube videos. Like, you know, I want them to watch something on their own, so it doesn't take up this last period. It's just real simple. You go to YouTube, and you just simply, oh yeah, yeah, she's a senior, you know. And so it's so easy on Google Classroom to just grab that link, download it.
The other thing on Google Classroom that you can do now is you can put a link on an announcement so that the kids don't actually have to go back and click that the assignment is done. It no longer shows up as hanging out there, unfinished business. So if you make it an announcement that you want them to watch something and they're not doing anything with it, like turning in a Google Doc, you want to make sure you use that feature instead of assignment.
And if you wonder why Google Classroom, because it does not involve your email. You can send things back and forth with students via the Gmail. Google Classroom keeps it in its own little box for every class. The assignments are put there when they're done or not done, but it does not bother your email, because if you have, you know, I think I have like 113 students this semester, any sort of constant interaction with them, just on a couple assignments, you're into the 200 and 300s and back and forth, and that's too much for me. I tap out real fast, like it's just too much. My phone's vibrating all day, it's all linked, it's like stop it. Google Classroom just keeps it there, does not send it to your Gmail, does not, it's just there, so it's a really nice little organizing tool to keep kids' work where it needs to be, but not flood your inbox to where you just give up, like delete your Gmail account. So,
That was the one thing. Thank you, sir.
Yes.
Appreciate your time. That was one thing we learned from the high school. You know, sharing those serious problems is a lot of work. One more thing I want to show you with YouTube is really neat. We do all our board of education meetings now through YouTube streaming. We stream all the YouTube board meetings. If you ever want to watch any of those, they're online. And every once in a while, a board member will say something that they probably should wait a little bit longer before they say something. So we have to crop a meeting. I think they cut off some things at the very end. But they may have a private conversation. Hey, I'm going out to go fishing tomorrow. What do you think? Oh, you know, taking such and such. If those, like, at the end of the meeting, they got to crop something. When you do a YouTube stream like this, you may need to crop something off of the actual video. You can edit those. You can add enhancements to them. You can put bubbles on the screen. All kinds of wonderful things. I don't have enough time to show you all of those. Let me show you where that's at. You click on your picture, like in YouTube, Creator Studio. It'll bring you to a list of your videos right here. Now, if you already created a video, you have this available to you. If you don't publish one of your videos that you just made, should be in this list. If you click on Edit, you get a whole new list. And YouTube is always changing these around, always adding in different things. And you'll have, I think it's under Enhancements, you have the ability to trim the video, slow the video down, lights, auto-fixing, flickers, bubbles, annotations, you name it. There's a ton of things in here to play with, a ton of things you guys can do in here. So I just want you to be aware.
If you click remember, it basically will never ask you again. If you just do allow, I think it pops up again.
Why is Greg still here? So, I want to let you be aware of that. I'm going to take Katie's time for just a little bit. This current lifestyle does an immense amount of stuff with Google Classroom, and I know some of you guys have been playing a little bit with Google Classroom, so if you have any questions about that, any follow-up conversation, Katie's kind of our phenom at the high school when it comes to Google Classroom. There's an immense amount of stuff with it. So I'm going to bring her for a second. Katie, if you don't mind coming on up here, giving some words of wisdom. You want the mic?
No, I should be okay.
Get good?
I think so.
You want me to do it for you, or do you want to roll? Yeah. Tim, I'm terrible with audio. I need your help after this. You know, wire the orchestra later. That was me. I did that. I just want to talk to you across the room here for a few seconds. Gotcha. Like I said, audio. Good, Katie.
Okay. I use Google Classroom and a bunch of different things in Google for a lot of different reasons. So I'm not just a one-stop shop type of person. I'm using Classroom, I'm using Google Sites, I'm using Slides, pretty much everything. But Classroom I use a lot when I'm absent. So a couple weeks ago I had to be absent for 2 days, and I set everything up on Classroom. It's very, very, very simple. All my students had to do was go to Classroom. The sub had my login. She could see who was working, who wasn't. It was absolutely phenomenal. So when I put assignments up here, what's really awesome, and I'm sure you guys know this, is that it tells you what's done and what's not done. So the not done people are the kids that were absent, who didn't do their bell ringer. And it's pretty obvious who that was on both days. What's also pretty great is that I can have, I haven't completely gone paperless. I can't bring myself to do it for certain things. So when I was absent, I had them complete a web quest. Well, it's kind of hard to type in all the different keys of a web link and expect it to be right every time. So what I did was I created an announcement that had web links for each part of the web quest, so they could go to those links and then write out their answers on their papers and still use it for just like raw structure of assignments. So if they need to look at examples, they're up there. They need to know what to do, but it's not necessarily on Classroom that they're doing it. They can look at instructions on there as well. That's pretty much how I use it.
Thank you, Katie. Anybody have any questions for Katie? Anything about Google Classroom? Anything I didn't cover? Some questions, comments, observations, concerns? Yes,
I'm sorry.
Tiny URL.
I saw that and I've used it, and for some reason it hasn't, like, not every time, it hasn't worked for me every time.
Yeah, always create your own custom name, like
Okay.
assign one, set it on the disk or whatever. It's kind of like it has been used. It's easy to share the link. Don't
Sure.
start with URL.com. Stack it Slack, you got so those pretty long links.
Right. Yeah, which mistake, nobody gets it right in the ever.
Yeah, you still go on the announcement, but
Sure.
it's even shorter.
Any other questions, comments?
Do you ever create assignments that you're not ready to assign them yet? Are they saved someplace, like in the bank?
You can save a draft of the assignment, and then when you're ready, you can just hit publish or whatever, save, I think is what it is.
You can save a whole bunch of those all at once now. So
Save drafts.
it automatically does it, and you don't have to do anything until you're ready to publish.
Thank you. Say, Katie. I didn't tell Katie I was just covering YouTube and snagging a couple Google resources today, but I had Katie here, so I wanted to use her for a little bit in case you guys had any questions. Any of that nature right here. I'm going to show you a few resources real quick. I think it was really neat. You may want to write these down. I tell you what, I'm going to write these down. I will email these to you here a little bit later, really after this session, so you just kind of watch what I have here. Our keynote at Google was about some really neat apps. So I'm going to show you some really cool things. This is off of Google.com. This is called, I believe it's called Hotspots. This is trending items, the most searched item right now. Like right now, why it's happening, these are the most searched items in the United States. And you just see things just randomly flying through here at different points in time. I have the ability of changing this from the United States to other locations, clear up to all regions, the entire world. You can change it to see exactly what is the most viewed things, who's typing in what throughout all of Google and see what all these are looking at.
See different languages in the world.
Yeah, just, obviously, it's Arabic and Chinese and so forth. You have no idea what some of those are. I thought that was really pretty cool. I thought that was pretty neat area. Here's a really neat. This is about books. So these are all things from Google. This is called the Ngram Viewer. This is from Google. Have you ever wanted to find out how many books were published with mentioning a certain person's name or a certain topic? And what year was that published? For example, well, I wanted to find out books that are published and have the word Adolf Hitler in it because I'm doing some kind of project for World War II. I can do a search of the lots of books and find out that the peak of time was in 1940, 44, and then there was another peak in 64. If I click on that, it'll give me a Google link to all the books that's mentioning Hitler's name. I can also put a comment here and then do a reference with, say, Winston Churchill. Just one page in there, right? As you keep going. I also can do a cross-reference with Winston Churchill and see Winston Churchill actually had more books published in his name higher than Hitler in the 40s and had a major peak in 1964. I've sent this link to you. I thought this was really just neat, compelling information, and I'm going to show you a lot of these kind of trends areas that Google does. And this is Google's process of trying to take everything and digitize it. Now this is really cool. This, next thing I want to show you is the ability of newspaper archiving. So Google is now starting the process of archiving every newspaper. If it's been published, they're trying to archive this newspaper. So this is a newspaper archive, and this is going to look a lot like the microfilm days of being able to zoom up on something. So I'm just going to type in, I'm just going to stay on Hitler for a second. And Hitler's death, there's the first article that came out in the newspaper, and this is going to look a lot like a newspaper article that you can kind of move around and look at, and you can see the articles over here as well. Claiming Hitler's death. This is all newspaper articles. You can scroll through them. You have the old Radio Shack ads in here and so forth. These are all archived newspapers that Google has sent. I thought this was really cool. I don't have a lot of details on this except for what I'm showing you. I saw this last week and said, this is really good. I should you. So I want to show these to you today because I thought it was really pretty fantastic. So like I said, I'm going to make sure I get this on a link to you, make sure this goes to you guys. That was the archive source of newspaper.google.com. And it was kind of hard to find when I was Googling some of this in the actual keynote. So it can be a little difficult. There's a lot of trends of things that happen automatically. And this is the trends dashboard from YouTube. You can do a comparative trend of location, whether it be from Buffalo, New York to Columbus, Ohio, and select an age group and see what videos are trending that are most popular at this point in time right now. You also can archive back to see what popular videos were at certain points in time. You're going to find out it's mostly funny things and music videos. But I thought this was some neat trending data as well. And I got one for music as well, and music one here. Tim's a music person without teaching music, right? We actually do teach music. This is a music timeline, and you can click in an area of music. It will break down the different locations during the different time frames, and then we'll tell you which bands at what point in time where they were the most popular. So it gives a whole timeline, there's every genre of music, and you can see when they were popular, when they were not, and based upon album sales and all those other kind of things, which is just kind of this is the last thing I want to show you. I got one more thing I want to do today, which is called Snag It. That's why I'm going kind of fast through these. I've got a million things I want to show you. And this is the trends from Google that allow to correlate. So this is a correlation pattern. And what this does is if I search for any term, search for Apple, it will show me the correlation of the word Apple and what was the most popular word next to it. Apple USA, the iPhone, and so forth, and then give me a trending amount of data that took place over a time frame. Now here's what's really cool, is I can compare this with other U.S. states. And I can see from other U.S. states what Apple was the most popular in what state. If I search Buckeyes right here, I almost would guarantee that Ohio is going to be number one. That's my theory. Buckeye. Hey, go there. And some of there's up there too as well. But that's just trees. No. Bowls. Oh, the Fiesta Bowl. Yeah. A lot of people just moved there at this point in time. Like 4 bowls there. So 5 just real quick apps. I went over them about just 5 minutes. I'm going to spend some of your time with that. All right, throat's kind of hurting because I'm talking really fast, trying to get through a lot of data at one time. So last thing I'm going to show you that kind of corresponds with YouTube channels is Snag. Does anybody use Snag? Tim, that doesn't shock me. Tim's like part of my IT protocol. My wingman. All right, so Snagit records your desktops. Okay, so Snagit's a little bit complicated to actually install. So this is why I left Snag at the very end of this session because I expect it to take a little bit of time to make it happen. So Snag is a combination of app and extension. In Google Chromebooks, we have apps and extensions. Apps are applications that are like Google Docs and things we click. Extensions are things that run in the background all the time. They're always running. Okay? You have to load Snagit's extension and Snagit's app to make it work correctly. Alright? So let me show you first what Snagit does, because as soon as I show what Snagit does, when I show you the load process, I'm going to have everybody in different places, and I'm going to lose everybody. So let me show you what Snagit is first, so you get a kind of an understanding of it. So here's Snagit, it's on the screen right here. And if I click the plus arrow here, it's going to create a new Snagit where I can share my internal display. And as I'm talking right now, it is recording both my audio and everything I'm clicking on and doing. So a kid can record his audio, not just his face, not just a YouTube video, he can record what he's doing, what he's saying, what she's saying, and then be able to send that to you through a YouTube channel. Okay? So when I'm done doing this, I hit stop. It's going to bring up a video. My internal display. And as I'm talking right now, it is recording both my audio and everything I'm clicking on and doing. Do I really sound like that? Sorry, I really am. So once I'm done with this, I can just click YouTube, and because I already have a YouTube channel created, it's already in the Chromebook, you guys are already set, I just click this, hit start, it's published. Goes right on your YouTube channel, you can edit it, go from there. Pretty fantastic. All right, so Snagit is going to do a couple things to make this kind of complicated on us. May have to log in a couple different times to make it work, but this is how you load Snagit. So what you do is click on your little search apps button at the bottom left, and click on the web store. Click on all apps, click on the web store. And you're going to search for Snagit. S-N-A-G-I-T, all one word. Snagit. And there are two things you need to load. Two things you got to install. One is the app at the very top. I've already installed it. It says free. You click on the free button, install it, and then the extension at the very bottom here. It says extension and an app. And you install both of those pieces. Okay? Install those, and then you will be able to create your own Snagit. Your kids will be able to load their own Snagit. We'll actually push this down to the kids. The kids will have to work on this. Look at that. While you guys are loading this, I'm going to talk in the backgrounds for a little bit. I have 3 new cases that I'm testing. I might take some pictures and videos and show Mr. Saxon what we want to put in the Chromebook for your kids. And I'm trying to find almost like a foam case. It's like Johnny got launched across the floor and bounced like 6 times. But we do have some really padded cases we're looking at. The problem is sometimes cost. You can get some of these bigger cases that get more costly. But we're looking at a lot of options to hopefully help with drop. But I'm happy to say, of our 22 drops this semester, 22 drops and breaks from the high school, we were able to fix all 22. So I feel pretty proud about that. As an IT department, we fixed every one of them. Some of them did have incur a cost to the kid for a cracked screen was 75% of our problem. But even though freshman was half of our issues of the 22 drops, I felt very surprised. I expected 30 complete disasters. I couldn't fix 30. I banked. I have a lot of Chromebooks extra sitting in my office that we bought extra because we anticipated a lot of drops, a lot of breaks. And we just didn't have that. We just didn't have that. This was like a small middle school. Was it we missed a lot of people? Including Mr. Brown. That's where we have our thing. That's where Amanda's at. I didn't do that.